Hey guys, I'm with Corey, the lead writer on Assassin's Creed 3, and we're going to talk about some of the cool stuff that we saw in the preview event today. The first thing we got dropped into was the Homestead, which is kind of like a little bit of a hub area, right?
Yeah. So at some point during the story, the details of which are spoiler territory, so I can't get too much into detail, Connor is going to be introduced to the Homestead. It is a community, or becomes a community over the course of the story, where people who have either lost their homes or been forced to flee from their homes or are looking to start again come. They move in and they begin to contribute to life on the homestead. Some of them will provide services, others will provide resources. It opens up like a crafting system. It opens up a whole bunch of side missions where you can get to know them all a little bit better and help them with various issues in their lives. And the idea is to sort of give it a bit of a change of pace from the main path, which is very like boom, 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 lots of, fast-paced, crazy events, like all this action occurring all the time. At the center of it all is a man named Achilles, and he will function primarily as Connor's mentor. So I can't say too much about him, except he is he's quite different from Connor. Whereas Connor is very like exuberant and idealistic and has all these great dreams and plans, Achilles is a little bit more reserved, a little more cynical. He's older. He's been there, done that, seen the world, and so the back and forth between the two of them is going to provide for a lot of very interesting conflict and drama over the course of the story. In addition to everything else I've been talking about, the Homestead is also going to feature a dock where your boat, the Aquila, is moored, and you will be able to use that to launch a whole bunch of different adventures. So in addition to your first mate, a guy named Faulkner, who is going to assist you in a lot of these naval missions, there's a guy hanging out there named Pegleg, who, surprise, surprise, has a peg for a leg. And like you said, when you first started speaking with him, he started to talk a little bit about knowing a bit about Captain Kidd's treasures, and so this will also be a pretty elaborate side mission chain that players can choose to embark on if they so desire.
I have to say, everyone's really curious about the naval battles and how it's going to handle with the boat on the open waters and stuff, and I was really impressed by the mechanics for the boat. I thought it was going to be a little bit difficult, especially missing the tutorial, jumping into the point of the preview that we were at, but I had a lot of fun with it, and I have to say the open conflicts using the cannons and the swivel guns was a lot of fun. I mean, do you have a particular mission that you really were proud of?
Yes, there is one I'm very proud of, but like everything else, to tell you would be spoiler territory. We have a mix of what are essentially optional naval missions, and privateer contracts and stuff like that, and then we have a couple that are in the main path that that everyone will see and do. And one of those is very near and dear to my heart. But yeah, I can't say anything except it's real big.
On my mark!
I know some people maybe have taken a bit of a break from the franchise. I know friends of mine that played Brotherhood but didn't necessarily play Revelations. Do you think that they're going to have a hard time following the core threads of the story?
No, I think it's no problem for people that have taken a break or even people that have never played before to jump on in, because keep in mind, Connor's story is completely self-contained. It's got, beginning, middle, end, all that, wraps up quite nicely. And even as far as Desmond is concerned, there's an entire recap leading into the game that will bring people up to speed. And I think that it's a perfect opportunity for people both new and familiar with the franchise to jump on in. And do not be afraid of feeling like you're missing out. Although, if you then get so excited that you want to go out and buy previous AC games, I definitely recommend that. So.
I know that you guys aren't really talking about what's happening with Desmond now that he's, conscious, and spoiler, if you guys haven't finished Revelations, hopefully they have. But I think a lot of people are kind of having questions about, who these people of the first civilizations are and kind of where they're figuring into this storyline.
I can give you a little tidbit that will hopefully not get me too fired. As is revealed at the end of AC Revelations, which is exactly where AC3 picks up, Desmond and his crew have arrived at the entrance to the Grand Temple, where they believe all of the answers to their questions lay, and potentially the solution to saving the world from the impending apocalypse. And I will say that they will go inside, and they will receive answers, and people will learn more about the first civilization, and that's about as much as I can say.
Okay, because I was going to ask you about this whole 2012 thing. Everyone's talking about how this is supposed to be the end of Desmond's story. December 2012 is just a couple months away. I mean,
all I can say is that there is payoff, and that's the only word I'll use. It's the safest word to use, but there are answers to be had. I promise. Whether or not people will be happy with them, that I can't say, but there are answers.
Well, I know that I'm probably going to get stonewalled on most of my story questions, so I won't ask any more about Desmond or about First Civilizations or the apple or any of that, because part of it is, really about discovering and kind of figuring it out for yourself.
Too much, otherwise, if everyone knows, they say that you people tend to give away too much in movie trailers these days. We need to, be mindful of that and do the same. Like, part of the joy, at least for some of our audience, is discovering these things as they go, and we're always also tempted, right? We're like, there's an answer here, and you might think you want it, and then you get it, and then you feel bad and guilty and sad, and so just got to stay strong, and I'm going to stay strong, and we'll all go on the adventure together on October 30th.
So before we go, are there any cool little side quests or tidbits or things that people that are going to play should be on the lookout for in the game?
So in addition, all the side content is super, super awesome, and I think everyone should do it, and there's great rewards at the end of a lot of them. Obviously, the peg leg quest chain is a really, really sweet one, and I highly recommend that people do that. I'm trying to think. All right, so the other thing that I think is really interesting is that scattered throughout the game are basically opportunities to have optional conversations with a lot of the characters, and these are conversations that would probably have interrupted the pace of the main path, so we sort of made them optional on the side, and they're there for players that want to learn a little bit more about, Connor or the people that he interacts with or some of the historical events of that day. So I highly recommend people that are either into history or into the story, check these out at every opportunity and participate in them, because there's a lot to be learned there.
All right, very cool. Thanks so much for talking with us, Corey. We're all really excited about AC3, and of course, comes out October 30th. Save the date.
I'm FPS Russia. Welcome to the Controller, Medal of Honor Warfighter.